We are telling you this story on April 10, 1912. On this day, the Titanic left Hamster Harbor in England for New York City with the aim of setting a new milestone in human traffic. This huge ship was built with a luxurious finish, so anyone thought it was a five-star hotel. People thought that this ship could never be sunk because it was designed in such a great way. But something happened that no one expected. On April 14, 1912, this giant ship collided with a large iceberg. A few hours later, it sank into the cold waters of the Atlantic Ocean. At that time, 14 people who were traveling on this ship lost their lives in this accident. In fact, this was because the passengers and crew had overestimated the ship. The wreckage of the Titanic remained in the Atlantic Ocean for 70 years. They were like that because it was impossible to explore this ship according to the technology of that time. All these things started to be explored in 1985. Let's talk about some of the things that have been discovered since then that will shock you. The pocket watch. I am not wrong if I say this is the most famous pocket watch in human history. This watch belonged to postal clerk Oscar Scott Wood. It was recovered from his body 10 days after the ship sank. The watch is still frozen at the time of Woody's death, 2:20 a.m., April 15, 1912. The watch is a gold-plated Elgin pocket watch with a white face and black hands. It is engraved with Woody's initials, OSW. The watch is in poor condition, with a shattered glass face and missing hands. However, the movement is still intact. He and his wife traveled on this trip to New York with the hope of starting a new life. However, only his wife was lucky enough to survive this terrible accident. The watch was returned to Woody's wife, Layla, after the disaster. She later donated it to the Masonic Lodge where Woody was a member. The watch is now on display at the Titanic Museum attraction in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. The watch is a popular tourist attraction and is often displayed in exhibitions about the Titanic disaster. The watch is a powerful reminder of the human tragedy that occurred on the Titanic. It is a tangible link to the events of that fateful night and the people who lost their lives. It is a reminder of the fragility of life and the importance of cherishing every moment. Cherub statue. This statue was built near the main steps of the Titanic. According to some, this had a deep religious meaning. It is reported that this statue was built to show that even God could not sink the Titanic when it was on its maiden voyage. Some people believe that this use of angel statues brought about the destruction of the Titanic. The cherub was found in the debris field at the bottom of the ocean in 1987, by the expedition team led by Robert Ballard. It was recovered in 1993, and has since been restored and preserved. It is made of bronze, and is believed to have been made in the late 19th or early 20th century. The cherub is depicted as a young boy with wings, wearing a flowing robe. He is holding a wreath of flowers in his hands. The cherub's face is serene and peaceful, even though the ship was sinking around him. The cherub has become a symbol of hope and resilience in the face of tragedy. The cherub statue is a remarkable artifact from the Titanic, and a reminder of the human cost of the disaster. The bell. On April 14, 1912, around 11:40 p.m., the Titanic hit an iceberg in front of Frederick Feed's eyes. Feed, who was looking forward from the tower of the Titanic, could see that the Titanic was moving towards a large iceberg. He rang the bell and announced this to the ship's crew. The bell that he rang at that time was found by explorers after many years. In fact, this bell saw the huge iceberg that would end the ship. Frederick Feed was one of the few crew members who survived the accident. Many expected him to provide the best information about the Titanic disaster. But unfortunately at that time his mental condition was very weak. And with the sudden death of his wife, he decided to leave his life. He committed suicide. You may now understand the very sad story related to this bell. This can be pointed out as a very sad moment that shows the terrible way the Titanic disaster affected people. Last meal menu. The Titanic was a luxury ship not only because of its appearance. The food and drinks were in a very excellent manner like five-star hotel. First-class passengers could taste expensive food in the ship's beautiful restaurants. The restaurant was decorated in a lavish style, with white tablecloths, crystal glasses, and silver cutlery. However, all this was destroyed by shipwreck. In later explorations of this ship, the last food menu of this ship is found. The menu was designed to showcase the finest cuisine of the time, and it featured a wide variety of dishes. The menu was printed in French and English, and it was accompanied by a wine list that featured some of the finest wines from around the world. The last meal served on the Titanic was a truly unforgettable experience for those who were fortunate enough to enjoy it. It is important to note that the last meal served on the Titanic was not the same for all passengers, because the class division was very strict in the Titanic ship. However, this last food menu adds a lot of sadness to our hearts. Love letters. According to the movie Titanic, the love story of Jack and Rose inside the ship is presented very beautifully. But the evidence of their love has not been found in this ship. However, apart from Jack and Rose's love story, there have been many other beautiful love stories inside this ship. And evidence of those love stories has also been found. The best evidence to prove that is this love letter found 70 years after the shipwreck. Richard Keddy, who worked as a laborer on the ship, wrote these letters to his wife. Later investigations revealed that these letters were written with the same pens used inside the Titanic. Also, the envelope in which the letter was placed was also used on the Titanic. Apart from his words of love, it can be seen that this letter contains things that only a person inside the ship should know. The article also mentions a time when the Titanic collided with another ship before it left on its maiden voyage. Now you understand that the Titanic accident was able to cross other beautiful love stories that were not famous. The life jacket. On April 15, 1912, the RMS Titanic sank in the North Atlantic Ocean after striking an iceberg, killing over 1,500 people. Of the 2,224 passengers and crew on board, only 706 survived. There were 3,512 life jackets on board the Titanic, but only enough for half of the people on board. This was because the Titanic was carrying far fewer life jackets than required by law, in order to comply with safety regulations at the time. In the aftermath of the sinking, several life jackets from the Titanic were recovered. One of these life jackets is now on display at Titanic Belfast, a museum dedicated to the Titanic in Belfast, Northern Ireland. The life jacket on display at Titanic Belfast is made of linen and cork, and is in fair condition. The life jacket is a poignant reminder of the tragedy of the Titanic, and of the many lives that were lost. It is also a testament to the ingenuity and craftsmanship of the people who made it, and to the fact that it survived the sinking of the ship. In addition to the life jacket on display at Titanic Belfast, there are 5 other known life jackets from the Titanic that still exist. These are located in museums and private collections around the world. The Hartley violin. The life violin, or Hartley violin, is a violin that was played by Wallace Hartley, the bandleader of the RMS Titanic. It is believed to have been played by Hartley and his band as the ship sank on April 15, 1912. It is reported that the band continued to play to calm the crowd while the Titanic was sinking. This violin belonged to the leader of that group. None of them managed to save their life from this accident. The violin was found 2 weeks after the sinking, floating in a leather case near the wreck. It was badly damaged, with 2 large cracks on either side of the upper bout. The violin was given to Hartley's fiancée, Maria Robinson, who later sold it to a music teacher at the Salvation Army. The violin remained in private hands for many years, but it was rediscovered in 2006 and sold at auction in 2013 for £900,000, $1.7 million. It is now on display at the Titanic Belfast Museum in Northern Ireland. The life violin is a powerful symbol of the Titanic disaster and the courage of the people who perished on the ship. It is also a reminder of the importance of music in times of crisis. The telegraph machine. This machine was used to exchange information inside the ship. This machine is so important that everything communicated in the last moment of the ship is recorded in this machine. The telegraph machine found on the Titanic was a Marconi wireless telegraph machine, a state-of-the-art piece of equipment for its time. It was located in the Marconi Suite, a series of 3 rooms on the port side of the office's quarters that included a sleeping berth, the telegraph operator's room, and a silent room, where the main telegraph transmitter was located. The telegraph machine was used to send and receive messages between the Titanic and other ships and coastal stations. On the night of April 14, 1912, after the Titanic struck an iceberg and began to sink, the telegraph operators, Jack Phillips and Harold Bride, worked tirelessly to send out distress calls. They sent over 700 messages in total, including the famous message, "CQD CQD CQD Titanic sinking fast, come to our aid." The telegraph machine that was found on the Titanic is a unique and important artifact. It is the only surviving telegraph machine from the ship that sent out the distress calls that saved over 700 lives. It is a reminder of the Titanic disaster and the heroic efforts of the telegraph operators. We are shocked by all these discoveries of the Titanic because of sad stories associated with them. Thanks for joining this video.